Hi, welcome to the Leaderonomics show. Today I'm here with Swee Yong, founder of UnrealMind, an angel investor, and in our entrepreneurial section. Welcome, Swee Yong.
Hi, Rick. Hi,
nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Now, let's kick it off with this whole Echelon activity event that is happening in KL, satellite event in Singapore soon. And tell us a bit about Echelon.
Echelon is actually a pitching event for the region's best mobile and web startups. Right. For the first time, we will actually be holding a satellite event in KL on the 21st of April, right? And that event will actually have about around 10 shortlisted Malaysian startups in the web and mobile sector, which will actually be pitching their stuff, right, to a panel of judges.
And so this whole technology entrepreneurial environment is something that you're very familiar with because of your own background. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I sort of like I started a mobile content company back in year 2001, right? I managed to actually grow it to become a regional player, right? At our peak, we have offices in like 6 countries, 120 employees, group wide, and we managed to publicly list the company in Malaysia, and subsequently we were actually acquired by a British company. So yeah, that was my journey from 2001 right up to 06. So I stayed on with the company for a year and I left in the end of 06.
Yeah, fantastic. And we understand that you started UnrealMind, your first company, at the tender age of 26.
Yep.
Tell us that journey, because most people, including myself at 26, were like playing marbles. But here you are starting your first organization. Tell us a bit about that journey that you made.
I suppose I reached a juncture in my life that I was thinking maybe I should start something. You know, it's either going to be now or, you know, it's going to get harder when you grow older. So it's always like you are able to take on more risks when you're younger, right? You know, when you fall down, at least it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
Right. So I decided, like, you know, I need to, what is the best industry that I could actually be in, right? And start something with not much capital.
Yeah.
That I can actually, that is a growing industry, that there is a future in it. So I decided to pick on mobile because at that time mobile was up and coming. I think the mobile phone users actually started getting popular in around the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, so I thought that is a good market to be in. I mean, what could you do with your mobile phone at that time? Nothing much, right? You probably play a worm game in your Nokia phone.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Send text messages, make voice calls. That's about it. That is about it, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to actually, hey, you know, perhaps you can play some games with your mobile phone. You know, maybe very simple SMS games.
And you already had interest in this whole mobile technology area?
No, actually, I was pretty much a virgin in that area.
Oh, right.
Right.
So how do you figure out that this is the space that you wanted to play in?
I look at the aspect of technology, as well as the market readiness, you know, and various factors. And I think that it is not really a very difficult market to actually start something, right? It's not something like it's a rocket science, you know, you need a rocket scientist to be able to design your rocket, right? So it's, you just need a couple of good programmers and a really, really solid, good idea, idea, and then you pitch it to the operators, you know, and if they like it, they'll take it and off you go, right? So I want to be in an industry whereby it's not highly regulated. It's easy to go in without having to worry so much about, you know, applying for licenses, you know. I'm heavily regulated, you got to get approvals, this and that. So yeah, so mobile is a very open space. Yeah, anyone with a good idea, right, is able to start something at a very low cost.
Now, at age 26, when you started, I'm sure that I mean you're quite new in the working world and all that. I'm sure you had many challenges in that sense. What were some challenges that you had to go through in those couple of years of startup?
Interesting. Yeah, go through a lot of challenges. Number one being, where do I get the money? That's the biggest first hurdle that I suppose every business person would or entrepreneurs would actually ask. You know. Where do I get the money? So I pulled in some of my savings, borrowed some from my parents, and the next hurdle is like the usual stuff, you know, finding an office space, cheap office space, you know, getting the right people to work with you, right? So I think these are the normal, typical challenges that I suppose every entrepreneur will have to go through, and then you just have to learn it while you go through it.
Yeah.
There's no, like, it's not like it's in the textbook, you know, how do I set a company? Do I have to find, some entrepreneurs especially don't even know that, you know, you actually have to go to a company secretary to set a company and stuff like that. Yeah. So these are the very typical challenges, but the big thing is, I guess, take on that risk.
Yeah, and I mean, you're very successful in terms of you know, with UnrealMind, having sold it to Monster Mob for 50 million in 2005. You know, how did you actually build that company to the point that it was before you sold it?
I think you got to work very hard, of course. Super hard. You have to sacrifice a lot, like your time with your family and stuff like that. And then you got to look at the from the business perspective. You look at the industry dynamics. Where do you think the industry will head to? Right? What is your?
That's right.
How can you defend your business basically at the end of the day, right? So when you reach a certain stage whereby it's really competitive, usually you have two options.
Yeah.
You either acquire somebody else to become larger,
right,
or you get acquired by somebody else, so you can be part of a larger group.
All right.
So we worked through. We grew very fast in Malaysia, right? I think within 2 years, it's like we had a huge market position. But of course, competition will definitely come in. Like I said, it's low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
We just had speed, right? Speed was on our side because we were the earliest to spot that, you know, selling mobile content, selling ringtones is very lucrative.
Yeah, and you talk about speed, and this is like speed to market, and that's really critical in any business. And how do you actually balance up speed with knowing?
Actually, I think Eric, the speed is critical, especially so for startups. I mean, as a startup, right? What do you have? Any big corporations who loves your idea would really come into the market with bucket loads of cash, right? And how do you like compete with them in terms of cash? You know, in terms of talent, you maybe have a couple of good programmers, but with cash they can hire a lot of good programmers as well.
Yeah.
So, but one thing that startups always have an advantage, a very distinct advantage as compared to large organizations, is that you are nimble, you are lean, you are mean. You know,
so it's easier to do this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you think it's a good idea, right? Everybody agrees on it, and we move in the direction, right? There's no such thing as I need to get approval from so and so, so and so. That's where it breeds innovation. There is no silos, right? So I think, I always emphasize to my investing companies that speed is your ultimate weapon, especially when you are a startup and you are small, right? If you lose speed, you lose half the battle. It's as simple as that.
All right.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I understand that you spend most of your time investing, and you're what we call an angel investor. That simply put means that you've got money and you can by yourself invest in ventures. And so, what is it that really, you know, makes you excited of being an angel investor? Yeah.
I left UnrealMind in 2006, right? Then I sort of like settled down, got married, have kids, right? And I think I only started like seriously looking into angel investing sometime early last year.
All right.
And then I kind of like enjoy it. I think they are. I suppose I am the sort of person who I enjoy a startup environment more than in a corporate environment. I mean, I've been through the whole corporate thing, you know, from a small company, 3-man show to 120, you know, regionally, you know, and listed it, having to do corporate disclosures, you know, whole quarterly annual meetings and stuff like that. Can I do it? Yeah, I can, but do I enjoy it? Not as much as in the startup environment.
Okay.
And I think there's plenty of ideas out there, and plenty of good, talented people. It's just about giving them a helping hand, right? Then again, I'm no Santa Claus, right? So I think the angel investing actually is very interesting. I hope there are more people, more angel investors in Malaysia actually. In Malaysia, I suppose, strictly speaking, in the mobile/tech sector, there are very, very few.
So you think there's a huge talent gap there in terms of?
I think there's a huge funding gap.
Funding gap?
There is a huge funding gap. I mean, Malaysia, there's a lot of grants. To be honest, none of my investing companies have so far ever applied a grant. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the grant. Grant is good, right? But it's just that the process of going through it, and a lot of them would rather spend the time to build their market.
Yeah. Do you think we have a lack of even human capital in terms of the people who have the ability to actually literally run this business and think of concepts to run?
No, I don't think we have a lack of human talent. I just think that we have a funding gap in the very, very early seed startup stage. I mean, yes, you have like venture capitals and stuff, but these guys are doing like what, 1, 2, 3 million ringgit, 5 million a bucket deal. I mean, a lot of startups are not ready for that, so the expectations are different. I mean, these guys who invest like 5 million above or 2 million above, right? They'll be thinking like within like 6 months, right? You need to be generating X amount of profit, X amount of revenue, the kind of run rate. But it doesn't work that way. It never works that way, right? So there is a what you call an incubation period, right? Of maybe 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, before they.
Yeah, you're gonna perfect the model and everything, right? Before you actually scale up your businesses. Okay. So I think for that 18 to 24 months, I mean, most entrepreneurs will bootstrap. You know, max out their credit card, borrow from parents, whatnot, right?
Yeah, to just get it going.
Yeah, and there is a huge funding gap for but I can understand why there is a funding gap. Because if you look at the States, right, their angel investment community is huge and the debt is really deep.
And so this is something just pretty new in terms of where Malaysia is in this region.
Yeah, I won't say it's only pretty new, it's about successful entrepreneurs' willingness to take out like 5 to 10% of their net worth, right? Okay. To say that, you know, I'm prepared to lose this, but hey, you know, I'm investing in, I'm not gambling. This is not gambling, you know.
But it's a risk that they have to take.
There's a certain amount of risk, but you are also breeding innovation, and if 1 or 2 of your startups really make it, right, you make it back. You make it back on everything, but that's beyond. That's another story, right? But the thing is the willingness to be an angel investor. I think it's people have to understand.
As an angel investor and with Echelon coming up, where you're one of the judges to judge some of these business ideas and all that, what do you look for when someone pitches an idea and say, look, I've got this idea? What is it that you look for?
The character of the founder or the founders, the co-founders. To me, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people invest based on business models, products, concepts. But to me, I put a lot of emphasis on the human side, the founders. I mean, you are who you are, right? Ideas change. If your business model needs to be tweaked, it needs to be tweaked. But if you do not have the DNA, the person doesn't have the DNA to go through that journey, it doesn't have the DNA to go through that journey.
Well, it's interesting because the first thing you mentioned is the person himself, that means the person's capability versus the idea and, you know, and the business model. And so you would say that hands down.
Yeah, to me, the key person, the founders or the co-founders are the most important criteria I'll look at, right? How much passion they have in there, right? Because by talking to them, you have a fair idea, you have a good gut feel of, you know, what kind of person they are.
So you're really looking for passion as one of the things?
I mean, product is important. You have a product, but you need really something.
Somebody's really driven
to drive it, you know. Yeah, so that to me is very key, very important. I mean, if you look at all the major successes on this planet, right? It's almost inevitably, right? Every single one of them, right, is individual driven. Azure, Apple, you know, Microsoft. I mean, you're in the early stage. I mean, when you reach a certain stage, like past the first 24 months or 36 months or whatever, you've grown up. That is a different culture again. You have to have more processes, structures, and better management, professional management. But you're in the startup stage, right? The most critical thing is the founders themselves. Nothing else.
Now we've got many budding and want to be entrepreneurs out there. What's your final or most powerful advice that you can give some of these people and those who want to be part of Echelon? And what is your final advice, and what's it that they really need to get right to become successful?
I think chase your dreams. Be gutsy. Go out there. You know, take on the market. You know, chase your dream. What have you got to lose? At the end of the day, really, it's about we are always limited by our own mentality or ability to believe that we can make a difference or move forward. I mean, out of 100 startups, many will fail, but chase your dream, you could be the one.
So they must not give up, and that's really about going after that one passion that you have.
Yep.
Right. Thank you. I'm with Tan Swee Yong at the Leaderonomics show. Thank you for being with us. Great honor having you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks.